call the meeting to order at 4:36. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, excellent. So are there any written comments from?
There's another, we got another FOIA, you guys don't know about the last FOIA we got, but we have two FOIAs to address. The one I've already responded to, it was pretty straightforward and pretty easy. And the other one's gonna take some time, but he gave us 30 days.
Who are they by?
Not anyone we know. I mean, I
Okay.
know who it is,
Yes.
but not anyone that's known to this board.
Yes,
I mean, it's not, I don't think it's a matter of, it's not a state secret, it's Mr. David Munshaw. The other one's gonna take a little work, but we'll get it done.
Okay, well, there's nobody here from the public, so I'm assuming there's no public comment. Okay, old business, capital needs discussion.
So, we're told that, what was the date? No, I don't know. 21st is of this month is where they're hoping to have the cooling system completely finished.
You mean get rid of that big ugly eyesore on the front of the building?
Put the louvers back in, but the trash up there is not theirs. So the trash is, hey Carl, the trash is from the roofers still. The roofers need to come back because the drain, you may recall they broke some drains in the process of. No, and last I talked to Mr. Pritchett last week, and he said he was waiting for a change order from the architect to get them back here to fix the drains. I think it's only 2 of the many drains that are up there, but they're plugged right now, so there could be standing water around there, because this is rainy season. So I'll try to get an update on that from Mr. Pritchett before the full board meeting. But the 21st is the date they're hoping to be completely finished with and have tested the cooling system. It's installed. Well, it's up there and installed on the roof, the cooling tower, but there's still work they've got to do and get all the chemicals in it and get that right. So we're kind of happy for this cold spell because we don't have any air conditioning, and this building gets hot really quick. So without any windows, So I think that's it for capital needs. I think.
Okay. Let's move
My
on.
sewer line is still working fine?
So far, so good.
Wow.
Not really.
Yeah.
That's close enough.
And when did you say that they plan on coming to the drains?
Don't have a date on that. That's they're waiting for a change order from the architect. So I'll try to have an update on that before. I do meet with Mike Pritchett Tuesday morning, I think. So
He said the cooling system should be in by the 20th.
yeah, that's the one we do have a date on. And again, they say they're shooting for the 21st.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll see. Yeah. See
Yeah.
how that goes.
Just hope there's not a lot of standing water out there, because water always finds a way.
Right.
I know, right?
But there are other drains that are, my understanding is there are drains that are active and open. I think there's only 2 drains that are, and I don't know how many there are out there total.
Yeah.
But I would assume there's got to be several.
Yeah.
Or that big.
Okay, furniture project.
So on the 18th, I just got confirmation on the 18th they will be here to demo the 2 existing service desks. Installation of the new service desks will be 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Electrical work is set to be done on the 24th. Grand reopening on the 25th.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
So we're cutting it about as close as it could possibly
We'll keep our
be.
fingers crossed.
Well,
We still have a couple of niggling little problems that we haven't solved. next time somebody tells you about how much more efficient the private sector is than the public sector, remember this. They've sent poor Omar from Chicago 3 times with the wrong parts.
Oh, Lord.
And it's stuff that is made to order also.
Yeah.
So they've made it wrong 3 times. And he's like, "Hey, I'm getting paid for the drive down here." You know?
He's having a grand
They also
old time
sent,
driving back and
they also
forth.
sent a guy down before Omar to Augie, that was Augie, to measure stuff. So we don't know what the disconnect is. And now they've got some video and some photographs, and we're hoping that, and this is the booths. Some of the booths have little cubby holes in them that you can just open up and put stuff in. And people are putting stuff in them.
Trash, I assume.
Trash and books that they were reading and they don't want somebody else to check out, so they're stashing
They
it in
have a
there.
little hidey hole
Yeah,
there.
and then somebody comes and wants to check that book out, and it's like, well, it's not on the shelf, and you start looking.
That
there
explains
it
where
is.
that book was, I wanted to check it out.
Well, I know everything is electronically, there's a script inside of it, but obviously that's not GPS from the library, so it's just on
Exactly.
whenever someone comes
Correct.
across that book.
Well, technically, we do have a wand that could help us find it, but we know that
Now we know check holes.
yes,
Yeah.
we're going straight for those. It's not happening every day or anything like that, but we want them sealed up. So, hopefully that'll get done. So, I mean, we're withholding right now roughly $50,000. So, I mean, they've got incentive to get it done.
Evidently not enough.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any other old business?
I know. Should I do any updating on the IMLS funding at this point? Because that's
Yeah.
as old business,
Yeah.
and we have talked about it before.
Yeah.
I think I forwarded you guys the email that Kwame Raoul will be joining 20 other attorneys general to bring suit against the federal government for not paying. It's not just IMLS, it's a various agency funding things, federal funding that's not coming through.
Aren't we spending more money on lawyers at this point than we are if we just paid for stuff that we were supposed to? Anyway, keep going.
I'm sure that's true. And that's really about it. I mean, we've got to act as if, I don't remember if this group, I don't think that you've met since I went to the State Library Advisory Committee.
No.
Carl's probably heard this before, but State Library Advisory Committee, this is before the lawsuit was announced. This was after the continuing resolution was passed in Congress, and after the President signed that continuing resolution into law, and after he subsequently on the same day said he wasn't going to pay some of the things that he signed into law. So then we met the State Library Advisory Committee, and all the IMLS funding in Illinois comes through the state library. And they distribute about $50 million in grants to libraries of all types in the state of Illinois. Public libraries, school libraries, academic libraries, junior college libraries, prison libraries. And of that 50 million, 5.7 million is federal money. Now, it goes to specific places, but I don't think we want to just take it from those specific places. We've got to figure out an equitable way to distribute the $5.7 million. But anyway, met with State Library Advisory Committee. I was kind of hoping Secretary Giannoulias would be there. He was not in attendance. Director McCormick, Greg McCormick is director of the State Library. He advised us, since the continuing resolution is passed, we believe we're going to get our funding for fiscal year 2026. I expressed my skepticism about that.
Yeah.
And he also seemed to express the belief, so when I understood it, and some of my colleagues understood it at lunch afterwards, that the state would step in. If we didn't get the money, the state would step in and fill the gaps. And I think that is a fantasy. I really don't think that's going to happen. Because they're not going to just be having full grant gaps for IMLS. I mean, think about it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's all
Medicare.
kinds of stuff, there's all kinds of funding that's gonna go away. So I don't think that's realistic. And I asked, I said, so when it happens, when they say we're not getting the money, who has standing to sue? Are we talking about that? And he said, to his knowledge, that discussion hadn't been had. Well, subsequently, we found out that, Attorney General Rowe is taking legal action. So I don't have any updates on that, but that's where we stand at the moment. Still no hard and fast plans to where the money's gonna get cut. We did express the committee, and we're an advisory committee, unlike you guys who are a governing board, we're an advisory committee. And we did advise delivery needs to be protected. Statewide digital services need to be protected. Anything that a job is tied to needs to be protected. So we did find some smaller, price tag items that we feel could go away, but that didn't get us very far. So no final decisions have been made.
I feel like our library runs pretty streamlined as far as what I don't feel like we're making a lot of waste.
Well, we have to. Yes, I agree. I think the public sector tends to be efficient, and I think it's a fallacy that we're not. I think it's a fallacy. Are there exceptions? Yes, and that those exceptions are blown out of proportion. I think for the most part.
DMV.
I think for the most part, people who get into public service do so for the right reasons, and the public sector does more with less.
Well, think about the Army Corps of Engineers after Hurricane Ian and the bridge was knocked out to Sanibel and Captiva. Within 3 weeks, had a new bridge built. Do you know how long it would take the private sector to build a bridge?
Yeah.
Years. Army Corps of Engineers, boom, bridge up.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, that's where we stand right now, and I will keep you guys posted. I'm going to keep forwarding email communications as I get them.
Okay.
But for the state, there are some higher priorities.
Well, yeah, I agree, and I
Just
thought,
has to really
when I heard
have to keep our
when I
fingers
heard that,
crossed.
talk of, after the election, talk of cutting $2 trillion from the federal budget, the only thing that surprises me about this IMLS stuff is that it took until March to happen. I thought it would be one of the first things to
You
go.
forgot libraries.
Yeah,
I think that was just an oversight,
Yeah,
not knowing we had
and I wanna-
libraries in this country.
I also want to express this, that and I talk about this almost daily to staff, and I try to, so this is not about, we have a range of political views here, and this is not about public opinion, this is about Schoolhouse Rock stuff, y'all. I mean, the law was passed.
The best.
The law was passed, and the law is not being enacted, and that's what we got to focus on. In 2017, President Trump attempted to get rid of IMLS, and Congress said no, including conservative Republican Congressman Rodney Davis. Voted, and it's the first thing I said to him when I had him in for a tour was, "Thank you for supporting IMLS."
Rodney Davis actually was relatively good on a lot of his votes.
Yes, moderate, which
He was.
nowadays makes him almost look liberal.
I know, right?
So anyway, it's I certainly have my political opinions, but I'm not trying. I told you,
Yeah, I mean,
I got to
it's-
talk about this stuff, and I got to
Yeah.
talk about it, and it's got to
It
politics impinges upon it. So elections have consequences, and
We are living the consequences. Okay.
Well, I appreciate the updates too,
Yes.
Rick, thank you.
And I like the emails, so please keep sending them because it keeps me,
And I like.
there's so much noise out there, it helps me focus in on.
well, I keep thinking, I've got a friend who's in the Marine Corps, and I keep saying all this stuff is coming at us at once, and he goes, well, in the Marine Corps, we're taught you kill the shark that's closest to the boat. Get that shark first. That's the only shark you got to worry about. Kill that shark. Then you kill the next shark that's closest to the boat.
Yep.
Well, that's good, that's what we're doing. Those emails do help, it's.
Did I forward you the one from Secretary Janulius? It was kind of longish. It was kind of about how the money's
Yes.
Yes, I think you did,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
All I know is it's really nice being on a library board, being informed about what is happening to
Mhm.
libraries, and being able to speak specifically about something that I am involved in.
I feel fortunate that I was named to this committee so that I can give our library a voice.
It's great for us too, yeah, I agree, thank you. Okay, so check registry.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a vague question first. Can you explain to me how it works, like, for like payment for lost material? How does that work?
Sure.
Do we get income back from patrons?
So here's what happens.
'Cause there's no late fees, right?
So
Explain this to us.
if Paula checks out the book
Mhm.
from the Atwood Hammond Public Library, and she
Okay.
does not return it,
Through Decatur,
correct?
okay?
She's a Decatur, but she
Yeah.
borrows from Atwood Hammond. Atwood Hammond sends us a bill,
Mhm.
and then we collect from Paula. Now, maybe Paula says, I'm not gonna pay, and then she doesn't get to use the library anymore. But she's our patron.
How long does it take for it to be considered loss? Do you know? the answer to that?
Off the top of my head, I don't know, but I think it's about 30 days after the last renewal.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah, and we never collect everything, right? So
No.
That's why we have that collection company that I always ask about.
And we,
Which I
what we
find
do,
stopped, I want you guys to know
but
that.
step one is, and it's the same thing when their patron borrows from our
Yeah.
library. We don't try to collect from their patron. We collect from Atwood Hammond Public Library.
Okay.
I was thinking of Atwood Hammond because I just had a
That's fine.
conversation with the director.
It was perfect, it was a great
Yes, thank you.
use of example.
That was my only question.
Okay, what's our Donnelly library card, key card? Is that to
That's the
get
library
into
cards. That's the
Oh,
library
that's just the
cards.
library
Yeah,
cards?
and
Okay.
we get, there's one that you can put on the keychain.
Yep, yep,
Yep.
which is the only one I have left, which is, who knows where. Assistive hearing system, I didn't realize we had one, but.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
we
got it
just
downstairs.
installed it, it's in the Madden, it's for.
Oh, we talked about it, never mind, I know what it is, take it back.
Yeah, and much of that was funded by a patron individual.
And then the Civic Center, I only flagged it because I wanted to find out, are they paying some of it now?
Yes, it's all fixed.
Okay,
Yeah, I noticed that, so that's what our payment should be, the
Correct,
1,800, I forget what it
Yeah,
was.
it's gonna be
Okay,
roughly that every month.
much better.
and what's Spring Share?
Spring Share, I think is Patron Point, is the company that has Patron Point.
Yeah,
Patron Point,
Points.
among other things, I know there's more than this, but the main use that's our system by which we do newsletters and mass communications with our patrons.
Oh, yes, I know.
There's other things,
Yeah.
and I am struggling to bring it to mind.
No, I remember discussing when we got it, like, all the cool things it does. Okay, so is this author, are we sharing that fee with,
Which one? Where is that?
Miguel, Michael, Alexander?
No, but it's funded by the Friends.
Okay.
Yes,
But
he's
Extremely well attended,
yes.
it was,
Okay.
and he was delightful.
Yeah, that one is, Mr. Threets is not an author per se, he is the librarian in residence at PBS. He was a TikTok
Oh,
phenomenon during COVID.
Yes,
He's
I
probably-
was unfortunately.
when did he speak? I was probably out of town.
It was Saturday, the 18th.
yeah, I was not on.
Yeah, I saw
My-
pictures online and it
Yeah.
was,
My granddaughter's birthday party, so
yeah.
I couldn't make it.
Anybody else have any questions?
Nope.
No?
So I just want to say, I want to give props. Michelle prepared this for me. This is every invoice and check request for the month, just in case.
Wow.
So we were,
Prepared.
All right.
yeah, so we're gonna do this every month. It was just like an
Okay,
obvious
what did we lose
solutions.
from Tolono Public Library? No, I'm kidding.
Like,
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
I wonder.
could you get to that detail?
Does it go that detailed? I don't think it does.
That would be amazing.
I think actually, because I don't think we handle that upstairs. That is, Lisa Tokars handles these for us. Lisa's
I tried.
library clerk too. No, it's right here.
What was it? Oh, look, we found it.
Well, I can't say because that is a violation of
I'm a patron.
but it's right there, yeah.
Oh, I wasn't thinking the patron who lost it. I
Well, the
just
book is
wondered
A Court
what
of
book.
Mist and Fury.
That's what I.
Ooh, that's a good one. Come on.
They must have really liked it.
They must have, they wanted to
Well, they
do it for
own
their
it now.
personal collection.
Okay. No, I didn't want to know the patron's name.
Yeah, I just want to know the books.
I want to know the book.
Yeah.
Okay, so does anybody want to make a motion to accept the check register? Oh, you
Well,
have to.
oh, I was just gonna say, do we need to go back to last month and
Oh, yes.
the Becks and the regions, so we tabled?
No, you guys did, you guys approved that at the full board meeting.
Okay,
Yes. we
that's
did.
right.
Oh, I
Okay.
wasn't there.
Yeah, you guys approved it at the full board
That's
meeting.
right.
I brought the
Okay.
answers to all your
I know,
questions,
that's why I wasn't even there.
Yeah.
and I don't even remember what those answers are now.
I trust you.
And I kept saying,
I trust my fellow board
I did,
members.
go watch the video, I did say, maybe we should wait till Emily's here.
I do recall.
Yeah, Bex was written down twice,
Yep.
but had the
Oh,
same
yeah,
check number.
and-
And there was just some questions about the regions, but that's
What
why we
happened
did
was
that.
she moved from one budget line to another, and so it printed out 0 where she moved it
Gotcha.
from.
Yeah,
The
that's
total
right.
was correct.
Hey,
Yeah.
what that memory?
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so did you call for a motion?
Oh, yeah.
Sophie? I will make a motion to approve the financials as presented.
And I will second.
Okay, excellent. So we have to go through.
Aye.
Aye.
Alright.
Aye, so moved. We are accepting the check registry and sending it on to the full board. Okay. Let's talk about the actuals and projections.
Yeah, I just want to give you, this is an FYI, I forgot to put it in the pack, but this is the March statement from our Illinois funds account. You guys, and I forgot to put it on the full board agenda, but you guys last month voted to move 35,000 to the capital reserve fund, but we didn't do that because I forgot to put it on the full board. But this is money that's not reported anywhere else.
So
And
should we
I-
change it to 36 then?
It's more, yeah, it's, as of today, it's like 36 something.
I was gonna say, this is end of end, we're making per month on interest. I thought we did move it over, but I guess.
Yeah, no, I wish it would have been, yeah, that would have been, that'd be pretty cool, but, no. So I've got some concerns.
Okay.
Let's kind of just walk through the actuals first. You'll see that security is back to where it should be. It's about $6 grand for 3 months. That's correct now. So thank you, Mr. Cooling for the city for making that adjustment. Payroll again looks out of whack, but it's really in good stead. It looks out of whack because we had one of our 2-3 paycheck months. That was January. There's really nothing on the expense side that gives me pause at this point. But let's look at our cash balances in our funds. In our operating fund, that cash balance is $575,296. I do want to point out one thing though. Let me back up to so on the first page, under library materials per capita, so we've already spent it, but we haven't got it yet. Okay, so that, we needed to do it because remember we put it all into Hoopla as a drawdown, which really makes sense for us, but it might cause some cash flow problems that we'll talk about later. So, 575,000 in the operating fund, a little over 200,000 in the capital reserve fund. And these aren't exact right now because as of the date I did this, the interest figures weren't in yet. So these are actually all a little tiny bit higher than I'm reporting. $6,500 in the Cantoni Fund. Meyer Fund has $33,500. A little over 7,000 in memorials and donations for a total cash position of $823,059.98. that's not the figure we're used to seeing. Because one, we've been spending down the reserve fund as we should. But two, because of that little anomaly I pointed out, because of the spending the,
The coupon money?
now, I didn't check today, but there was some chatter amongst colleagues on the listserv that people are starting to get that per capita money. That'd be great if it happens, so I'll check, but before next week's meeting, I'll see if we've received it. I usually get an email from the city letting me know it's arrived. I'll just check the financial software. Projection. So projection after one quarter always is a little dicey, but you'll see I am at this point projecting a $254,000 shortfall in revenue. I want to point out that the other grants line kind of confounds that a little bit because it's a pass-through. You know, there's a corresponding expense line for it. So you pull that out, and we're still almost $200,000 short, and that is in the PPRT, personal property replacement tax. We've got our second payment, and what was the third? I don't remember. It comes 8 months a year. It comes the same month every year. There's some predictability, and there are. It's chunky, right? There are months that are heavy, and there are months that are light, and just I'm basing it off past patterns. State doesn't tell us exactly what's going to give us, but a $241,000 shortfall. Keep in mind, I want to, for a second, back out to the big picture. 3 years ago, we were bringing in $1 million on this one. And this year, it looks like it's going to be just over $300,000. That's nearly a $700,000 swing. We are not Chicago Public Library. $700,000 is a lot of money to us. This is something we have zero control over. However, I think we want to be, when it comes time to budget for '26, I think we want to be super careful with this line, because here's what happened under Griggs and Terra. I would say, Greg, what do you, because this is a number that comes from the city, not from the library. All right, this budget number comes from the city. Back when Greg was the CFO of the city, I'd say, Greg, what do you got for PPRT for us this year? And he'd say, I'll get that to you shortly. 2 weeks later, I'd say, Greg, what are we doing? And he'd say, I'll get that to you. Then I'll do my projection. I'll go to the Illinois Department of Revenue, look at their numbers, come up with a projection myself, send it to Greg and say, I think I'm going to go with this number. And he'd cut it by $150,000 or so and say, no, we're going with this number. Okay, great. It's how I got him to do it. It was just kind of one of those
It was actually very convenient.
annual
It
things.
was
Yeah, well, it was.
for-
It was one of those annual things that we went through. So since Greg's gone,
We miss him.
Ruby, and there's things that I don't want to compare badly at all, because Ruby's much more transparent about her processes and things like that, but she delegates more of the stuff also. So this is Mr. Cooling. So last year, in '23, when we were developing the '24 budget, I did my little estimate. And then Mr. Cooling sent me, he says, I think we're going to be here for PPRT. And we were only off each other by about $20,000. So I felt really confident about that. Well, you may remember, last year we came in about $200,000 short on this line. This year, I don't remember whether I came up with something or not, but he reduced it to roughly $600,000, but it looks like we're going to collect under $400,000. Now, there's a chance, since the state's on a different fiscal year than us, there's a chance that they bump that up come It's a tax. It's a tax. Now, it's not something that they're gonna reach into the pot and pull out and give to us. So last year, when I couldn't find any news on what was gonna go on with PPRT, and so I finally said, okay, I'm going to look at the state budget. Okay, I don't have your training, so this
That sounds painful.
budget is completely overwhelming to me. But I finally found PPRT in there, and it looked like a 3% increase to me. And I thought, well, that's good. So when Anthony came up with this number, I'm like, let's go with that, and hope we're going to get the 3%. But we didn't see any increase at the end of our fiscal year. I found some obscure little news item that said that they had, yes, that there was an increase in PPRT, but they had reallocated some of it. They moved it somewhere else. So, I'm concerned about this. In two ways. One is that the obvious, I'm predicting a shortfall, although we're doing great on the spending side. I don't see any problems here. But that $450,000 shortfall, keep in mind some of that was planned, because we knew we were going to move, some of it was just moving money from one fund to another. So that we budgeted $375,000 to go from operating fund to capital reserve fund. So we knew that there was going to be a big shortfall. But so it's actually about $135,000 shortfall that you see underneath that. Is everybody with me so far? Okay, so, but my bigger concern is if we go back to our balance sheet, this may cause us to run out of money in June. Okay? I don't think we will on especially since we'll have reduced most of the capital fund by then too. So I'm gonna request a meeting with, in the past, what has happened in these situations is the city gives us a no-interest bridge loan so that we can meet payroll, et cetera, et cetera. Now, it hasn't happened since 2013, and it was happening every year back then. But it's kind of a perfect storm of things. One, we've spent down our reserve fund because we needed to. Two years running of a big shortfall on one of our budget lines, and three, we spent all that per capita money and haven't received it yet. So I'm hoping that's there. That'll make a big difference if it is. But I need to sit down and talk to Ruby and say what's going to happen here if this happens in June. In July we get our property tax money, and we'll be fine by the end of the year as far as cash position. We're still going to come out in the red. I don't see a way around it. There's places I can cut. We won't be going to American Library Association conference this year. Maybe a couple other things. Maybe we don't do the whole lockers. But that only gets us about 50 grand.
When do you have to put 2026 together?
I usually start in August.
Okay. So you might have a better handle on what's coming in.
Yeah,
by
we
then.
should. We should.
So otherwise, what would be the plan? Just bare bones budget for 2026 to?
So that's a great question, and that's where I'm going to start. And I would welcome any two of you by this. I am meeting with newly elected Councilwoman Cruz on Thursday of next week at 2 p.m. I don't want to just hammer her with an ask, but I want to show her around, talk about what we do for her constituents, which is all of Decatur. Talk about our needs and kind of talk about, those talking points I shared with you guys some months ago. comparing our funding to funding in like communities.
I can go.
So, and I start with her, but then I work through the council.
So on the 17th at 2 o'clock?
Carl, were you gonna go too?
I was gonna try to, though there's no guarantee, so
Oh.
we might,
I can't go,
Okay.
so.
Sometimes it's nice if there's one or two people there. If you have like five, they feel a little.
Yeah, I can't go.
You
Well,
have
yeah,
more-
we can't have more than two
Okay.
without having a public meeting.
That's right,
Yeah.
that's right, yeah, because that would be a public meeting violation.
Okay, I can go. I just put it in my calendar.
so you're just entertaining,
Just a minute.
and we can go over this next week prior to, if you'd like to.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get every single council person and the mayor in here on an individual basis. So
Oh,
there'll
okay.
be other opportunities.
Oh, okay, well then,
So whatever you
Yeah.
kind of, whatever
Oh,
you
can
guys
you
want to
go?
do.
yeah, I can be there. So that is,
2 p.m. next Thursday.
I will be there.
Well, I'll say, big picture, I mean, this is why I wish we had, when Decatur experienced 2 straight years of growth, we would have captured the growth. Because, when we're looking at the Fed saying a 63% chance of a recession, it's really hard to raise people's taxes in a recession.
Yes.
Absolutely.
People
So,
As far as raising taxes,
it is, but we wouldn't have had to raise their rate.
yeah, just.
We would have, if we just captured the growth, everybody would have the same rate. Yeah, they'd be paying more, but they would be paying more anyway, because their value of the property went up. But if we had, so 2 years running, we had 7% growth and we got a 3% increase. I'm of the make hay while the sun shines, and, because,
Short your back.
yeah, because it might be raining next week, and, so, that's where we are. I hate being here because we've kind of touted, for years that, we've had a financial comeback. And we have, and it's still true. But this
But
is
you
not,
can't control the incomes like that,
Right.
it is what it is.
and that's what Greg always used to say. And
Yeah.
And John Phillips, who was a financial guy, they're like, you control the spending side.
Yeah.
Greg always used to say, if you've spent under what you budgeted, you've done your job.
Yeah.
So
I think it's fine. I think things are a little rough and rocky out there right now, and I think we're gonna have to get through the next 2 years, possibly 4, and we can adjust our budget for next year.
but here's the thing, expenses are gonna keep going up.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, if there is a recession, guess what happens to the demand for library services? Absolutely. You go back and look at the numbers in 2009 and 2010, they were through the roof. 2008 was good, 2009, 2010, and we laid people off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why it's like, learn from the past, prepare for the future as best as we can. And that's, advocate
Well,
as
at least
much.
we've got good furniture for people to sit on.
Yeah.
I was like thinking
The
the bright
library's
side.
looking good,
Maybe we can sell a couch or two
Yeah.
if we need to get by. Yeah, but it makes, I'm open with staff about this stuff, and it makes them nervous because, it makes the veterans nervous because they've watched layoffs,
Everyone's nervous right now.
of course.
I lost so much money if you think about it.
I don't look.
Well,
That's my
shouldn't-
Hey,
reaction.
today was
it
a good day.
rebounded
It
today.
was a good day. Yeah, it didn't rebound back all the way. I don't think
Oh.
Listen, I sit on that trading floor at 8 AM and I look over at that wall.
I tell you
For the
what,
past week, it's just been all red. I'm like, oh my God.
I'm just saying,
Today was great.
anybody who might have known in advance that this was gonna happen, stood to make a lot of money.
I'm also,
Well,
It
thinking,
looks a lot like
actually,
manipulation
I'm
Yeah.
from
thinking
where
the
I'm
same
sitting.
thing.
Yeah,
That's actually
yeah,
what I said
that's-
to my husband today.
Yeah.
I said, well,
I just
wish I
pretend
didn't
it's
know.
not real money, until it's in my hand.
I like
So
that. I like that.
it's kind of like,
Well, I got some younger staff saying, just means I can buy more shares.
That is true, when you're young, it's
Yeah,
better, but.
yeah.
Well, good for them. I mean, somebody's gotta make money off this, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I know a few people. that
In the
make
long
money
term, it
off
always
this.
goes up,
But you know,
history says.
but
That's
you
why I'm
know,
trying
but
not
you
to-
know, maybe, okay? That's maybe. As I said at the State Library Advisory Committee meeting, you know, guys, we're talking like this is a cyclical downturn, a temporary belt tightening. This isn't about the money going away. I mean, if permanent changes to the way our economy, then we don't know that it's gonna come back. I mean,
It's also permanent changes
there's-
to our economy and
if there's-
permanent changes to our reputation.
There's huge and permanent changes, especially to the world economy.
Well, they're saying that we can just get cut out. I mean, Brazil's working with China now instead of us.
Yeah, probably beyond the scope of this committee. But,
Oh, we have thoughts.
but we all certainly have our opinions.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, well, just,
Finance.
yeah, that's right.
and.
But it does, the big
It-
picture does
it-
impinge upon us.
Yeah, and it usually does cycle back. I mean, I know it did in 2008.
But like I said, it's the unknown, we can only prepare, we can't predict,
Yeah,
and just go like, you know.
So we just have a lot of things to put on the list for
Yeah.
next year's
it's
budget.
just, older people just don't have the time frame to wait for it to get
It's
back.
true.
So
But
I'll
the
be-
library will survive.
But
So-
the library will be, you're right.
So my goal of talking to Councilwoman, has she been seated yet?
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
And it would have been sad, yeah, the election's not even official until 2 weeks after, where it's, yeah, no, she would have.
But assuming it's Councilwoman Cruz, maybe I jumped the gun, but I mean, my goal is to, you know, show her, and she's a library user, so that helps.
That's awesome.
And
We like
she
that.
uses the, she's active in Girl Scouts, and so they use the meeting rooms and things like that, so.
Doesn't matter why
So
she
she
uses
should
it,
be
she
library
uses it.
friendly.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and and I don't know her personally, but my goal is to inform her, and to let her know, get an idea of what we're looking at financially, and what we might need.
So my question is, should I come like 15 minutes early so we have a little
Sure.
hour, or
Yep, absolutely.
That's a good idea, yeah.
I'm gonna put that down?
Yes. I'm gonna do that.
Assuming what day is it, Thursday?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah,
Phone does not want to
yeah,
come on.
if you have some talking points or anything like that, yeah, just let us know.
Yeah, I think it's basically those talking points that we developed last year,
Yeah.
but also the new stuff, about, you know, federal funding and state funding,
Yeah,
and that stuff we can't count on and don't really have a lot of influence over. Yeah.
Yep. And our
Yeah, like
libraries
the Capitol there,
is important.
you want to watch, eat of those watch.
We ain't got a budget for that.
We can do it by video, FaceTime.
yeah.
That's great.
I'll pay for myself to go there.
Yeah.
And we'll FaceTime the rest of us.
So we have a.
We're all here.
We have an attorney general that's gonna fight for us. We've got a state librarian who gets it, you know, and those
And
are,
like the fact that our governor also like enacted that law about banning books, no banning books.
well, I
That's
mean,
very
and
helpful.
but that came from the Secretary of State's office. I mean, it was the Secretary of State's office
Well, then I really like him.
that drafted it and found sponsors for it. Yes, I mean, the
That's
governor
good.
was absolutely all in on it, but.
Because I can think of one book that was attempted to be banned here that I let my kids read, so I was like, sweet.
It's nice to be proud of your state again. We've had some ups and downs,
We certainly sure have.
you know, and it's kind of like everybody just kind of knows Pritzker. And so,
Okay, well, is there anything else?
I don't think so. I think this is enough.
It was heavy, that was enough for
Okay.
today.
yeah.
Anybody